how much does it matter that Twitter's board members, without Jack Dorsey, don't collectively own a large number of shares? Is that unusual?
Yeah, hi, Emily. Thanks for having me on. You know, it's not too unusual. And that line of arguing is just, quite frankly, not going to get Musk very far. The board is protected by the broad leeway and the deferential aspects of Delaware's business judgment rule. So going forward with a fiduciary duty-based argument, when you have a company and a board like Twitter's, which I view as highly defended, it's a staunch defensive profile. You have a company here, and I look at 100 or so public companies a year to assess the pathway to a hostile bid. Looking at Twitter, they have a classified board structure in place. Yes, they're looking to potentially declassify, but that's a 3 year out plan. So for now, they're protected in the way that they only have roughly one third of their board up for election this year. And in fact, that number this year is just 2 directors out of what will be a 10-member board. You need majority control to force through a hostile bid like Musk's here. And when you think about Twitter's profile, again, shareholders can't call special meetings. They can't act by consent. They can't remove directors without cause. He needs to somehow find a way to give shareholders a voice. We've been hearing that through his Twitter feed over the past several days. And it's not to say he doesn't have a pathway. He has a strategy here, and we'll see if he employs it.
So let's talk about that. If he really wants to get this done, if Elon Musk really wants to get this done, what does he need to do?
In my view, it's a 1-2 punch strategy. He launches a hostile tender offer, and knowing Musk is penchant for 420 cannabis jokes, why not Wednesday, 420? Launching a formal tender offer and combine that simultaneously with launching a proxy strategy. And it's a little bit of an out-of-the-box strategy, but Musk is an out-of-the-box guy. It's called a withhold proxy fight. And what he would do, he missed the boat on nominating for this year. That ship sailed in late February. So those 2 candidates, he can't nominate for those seats himself. What he can do is run a full-blown proxy fight seeking to ensure that those 2 directors do not get a majority of the votes cast at the annual meeting. Importantly, what it does is it gives him a platform for a shareholder referendum on his offer. He uses those 2 directors who would be in what I call the firing line in terms of Egan Durbin and Patrick Pichette, and puts the full weight of the pressure on their election in order to try to prevent them from receiving the votes they need to be elected. And that would be the way that shareholders can have a voice.
So how likely is it that he can pull off a 1-2 punch, or would this require more punches than Elon Musk has hands?
It's going to look, the way the board is situated and the way it's heavily guarded, the way I see, kind of to give it a Star Wars analogy, the board right now is sitting there at like the Death Star with the force field protection up. It's heavily defended. If the board wants to sit back and just say no and do a resist and rebuff strategy for 12 to 14 months, they can do just that. But that's not to say Musk can't mount pressure, and he can do it through this withhold strategy, but that's just a small bite at the apple. In my view, the really big bite at the apple comes next year at the 2023 annual meeting. Even though de facto majority control won't be up, what you do have are 4 directors out of the 10 up in 2023, with 2 of them being biggies, the CEO and the chairman. So you can get effective control in 2023. I know nobody really wants to wait that long, but what you do is you start to chip away at them. You keep the pressure on. You run the proxy fight this year. You try to build and mobilize the withhold strategy to reject the 2 directors this year, and you see where that gets you. Maybe it's enough to move the needle, and the board sees the writing on the wall and know that they're going to face the music soon enough.
So quickly, Andy, what are the odds? What are the odds you give Elon Musk that the 1-2 punch would work?
He doesn't shy away from anything. I give him pretty good odds. I think he's gonna bring it. He's gonna bring the full weight to bear on his proxy strategy. He's gonna launch the tender, and you know what? We'll see what the wherewithal is of this board. But I have a feeling we saw a director 2 days after Musk surfaced with his with the letter agreement on April 4th. Robert Zoellick announced that he wasn't going to be standing for election this year, hence the 2 directors up this year. that shows you there could be some discord and disagreement in the boardroom about how to approach Musk. I think if he keeps the pressure on, takes the gloves off, puts out his formal
Right.
tender offer, which he can't close, look, I give him a fighting chance.